Awesome. Welcome everyone to Paradigm's 13th live stream. Today we have a special guest, Varad from PushPress, joining us as well. So, Varad, thanks a lot for joining us today. And yeah, what we thought of doing during this live stream is instead of focusing on product features and things that we've been doing all along, we thought it would be great to kind of bring together a conversational element to it on how PushPress builds data pipelines today, how easy it uses DinoAI, and we can also keep it conversational and we kind of go from there. Having said that, maybe we kick off with Varad. If you want to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit more about PushPress, and we take it from there.
Cool. Thanks for inviting me for this live stream. Super excited to do this. So my name is Varad. I work for PushPress. We are a gym management software company. We've been in the business since 2013, and we support like 4,000 to 5,000 gyms all across the world, more specifically into CrossFit, as well as getting into martial arts, yoga studio, any boutique gyms where PushPress is like the platform which they are using to basically run their business. I am like a staff data engineer at PushPress. I lead the data team. Our main responsibility is to make sure like the data keep flowing and business users as well as our customers get the data to make their decisioning on their gym operations as well as our company operations to make it possible. So that's what we do at PushPress.
Awesome. That's really fascinating. I know the PushPress team's been AI first for a very long time. So, what are the most exciting things that are coming out in the PushPress app where you're leveraging AI?
Yes. On the push bus side, I think we definitely don't want to miss the bus over there. And we will be like the one at the front row, like sitting to make sure we're trying all the features what AI can offer and also surface that to our customers as well so that they get the front seat row of getting that AI experience baked into their business. I think recently we've been launching like slowly with our selected customers, our AI agent where a gym owner can go in our application just like talk as like human like, hey, I want to change the plan for one of my members. I want to change the subscription date. We had also like a couple of AI features to engage all the gym members if they're having birthday. We had a mobile app which basically has a chat integrated. It's going to automatically post like celebrating that member's birthday and people can comment about it as well as celebrating their fitness milestones as well if they hit, let's say, 100 pounds like deadlift, or of course 100 pounds will be like a little bit less for someone who's doing CrossFit. So we have this AI integrated in our application and it's going to integrate more with our data as well to celebrate the members, help the gym owners to be working and caring for the members they serve. And our software can take like those typical administrative tasks and make it easy for gym owner to manage and run their gym.
Gotcha. I was reading somewhere, and I think where it's my view as well. I think at the heart of every AI business is a data pipeline. You can probably guess where I'm going with it. But I think ultimately, any AI first business at the heart of it is a data pipeline because it's what enables an organization to be AI first in the first place, at least as it stands today. So maybe it's a nice segue for us to dive into how PushPress builds data pipelines today, and if you can dive into that.
Mhm. Yeah. So just to give like a quick overview of our data stack, we use Snowflake as our data warehouse, and we have one of the ETL tool called Evo, which is like ingesting data out. We use like Metabase for our internal reporting and Looker for our external reporting. And of course, all of this is like powered through Paradime, where like we have to run like those DBT models. Because if we ingest the data raw as is, it's still raw data. Like someone has to make sense of it. And that's why all this like DBT models cleaning up, making sure the data is correct, bad data gets eliminated throughout the pipeline. And then having clean accessible data where our philosophy is like with this DBT models, like, hey, any models which you build, it should be as easy to consume. Where in a SQL terms, it should be select star from this table, slice and dice whatever you want, and get the answers for the business user or our customers as easy as possible, and embed them in reports and like whatnot. But it all starts with making sure the data is clean. That's what we are using DBT to clean that data and implement the business logic.
And does that mean you have your product information or product data, you have Hivo extracting into Snowflake, and then you have all your data transformation pipelines running on Paradigm, and then you have clean data available either for internal consumption or for external use?
That is correct. Yes,
Gotcha. Now, I think that means it's quite crucial to the product that you have something that is super reliable and easy to use, and it just needs to work day in and day out, right?
that is correct. And given like gym operations, I think of course people want to see like if a member checked in, they want to see stats getting updated in the dashboards to make sure they feel like the heartbeat of the business, like through the data. Hey, so people are coming to gym, people are working out, people are getting fit, and having that data refresh at like a consistent interval is very crucial for our business.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I think that's quite interesting for businesses like yours. There is a gratification element to the end user where they're putting in the effort and they want to see the result of that fairly quickly, compared to something like, oh, I make a transaction in a bank and then at the end of the month I have a transaction report which is far off from the time when the actual activity happens. And what are some of the nuances you'd say about information that you'd work with when it comes to customers who are like gym owners and things like that? What are some interesting quirks you've come across?
Yeah, I think on the gym owner side, we have been seeing a lot of our gym owners are being more data savvy, tech savvy, and of course, with AI is helping them analyzing data. I think our philosophy is how can we make it simple for them to not only access data but to understand data, because just like showing a graph won't be enough, especially for like a who are not on the tech side. They need to understand like, yes, I see the data, but what action should I take? I think that's like the next frontier. So as we are experimenting with our data at PushPress, we are trying to get to that level where like we just not only offer charts but offer the insight on.
That I think is where the world is headed, because there is already so much information. How do you actually translate that into actionable insights? It's like, what do you want me to do with it is the next question.
Exactly.
I have a lot of charts. I have lots of graphs. What do you want, what do you want me to do with it? I think is the next question that everyone is grappling with as well. I think that's like really interesting color on how you actually operate the business. I think maybe it's a good segue here. Maybe Fabio, you have some very interesting ideas on what we just spoke about. What does that look like in real life, right? From a practitioner's standpoint.
Totally, yeah. I'm super excited, of course, to be partnering with Varad and PushPress. I think, if I remember, you guys are one of early pilots when we launched DinoAI very early on. So I think that's proof like how you guys have been pioneering the AI enablement in general. So definitely excited about that. I think what I'm thinking is let's go through some of the workflow that we enable through Paradime that you guys use on a day to day. So I'll take on the screen sharing. Let me do this. Oh, perfect. Cool. So I think from who is new to Paradime, I guess, yeah, we do have an orchestrator, then we focus on DBT, and we build the whole developer experience around how you can, as easy and as quickly as possible, build your pipeline, how you can debug them, how you can develop your code, right? So I think you mentioned this early on around the fact that ultimately pipelines should be something we can build quickly, we can monitor quickly, we can just launch them, get them there, and make sure that they run consistently whenever we need it. So that's definitely been one of our areas apart on how we actually go and build the interfaces here. So we can pick as many templates that we build, again, for somebody that is starting to use the DBT, for somebody that doesn't want to overthink too much about some of those configurations, I can just pick one and go. But for this one, let's go and create some custom ones. So I'm hooked up with my F1 data. Let's call this as hourly run. So this is the interface we used to build and create pipelines for DBT in Paradigm. I can go ahead now. Let's say I can choose my branch. It's fine. I'm okay with that. I'll click on a command here. I want to run this pipeline for this model. Let's say I want to run this every hour, and maybe I'm going to choose, let's say, a different time zone. Let's take Pacific time there. And I think particularly when you mention reliability and make sure that we got the right level of visibility on what's happening in the pipeline. That's where, I guess, in Paradime, we've been enabling various different layer of notifications so that if we want to notify on a different Slack channel, for example, and have different configurations between emails and Slack and SLAs, we can all do this in one place. So now that I'm happy with all my configuration here, I can just go ahead and click on deploy. And yeah, this is kind of like as easy as it gets to get a bold pipeline up and running, right? I think it's super important to make those things as easy as possible. Now, we have been developing over time various different AI capability, and one of the area that we also want to focus is how can we reduce the mean time to recovery or time to debug things, right? I guess until it's all green, we're all fine, but the question, like, if something breaks, what do we do? How do we do it, right? So I just click the job for this model. We can go ahead and click on the executed run. You can see a bunch of things have been executed. A bunch of models have been fired here on the back of that. And this is when, okay, there's a failure, right? So we can see the logs and so on, but what we built from a user-enabled perspective, we can actually use the summary with AI to kind of like help user to navigate those errors. I think this is super important because different people will be on call. Not everyone has the same level of understanding of what this model do. So how can we build natively AI, not only as part of the development experience, but also as part of helping defining what those issues are and make sure that we can provide the right tools and workflows for those kind of issues, right? This is one of the areas where we've been developing AI capability within Paradime. Curious, Varad, from your point of view, how you guys are using this? How is this coming within your team? How you enabling this kind of workflows?
Yes, definitely. Personally, I've been using this summary feature quite a lot. We had some nightly jobs where it's running all the models, like it could be like 400 models running overnight to make sure the data is crunched up and ready for reporting, as well as we have some models which are running on an hourly basis or every 3 or 4 hours as well. So in case of error appears, running through the 500 models in the console log, it's going to be like time consuming. And if multiple models fail, then it just become like more overwhelming if someone is like multitasking. I think summary, it's been super helpful for me to just get the gist of it without looking at the entire logs. Hey, what failed? If I had like a contextual knowledge about that model, oh, I know what exactly failed. But if someone on my team doesn't have the model context of what we are trying to run, these logs could be helpful for them to basically understand what is the high level issues. It could be as simple as like, hey, we missed like a join, or it could be like a test is failing. This just helps cut down the time to analyze as concise as possible, like just get a gist of it and take action accordingly.
Yeah, totally.
And
That
like
makes sense.
and like 400, 500 models is pretty common in any working dbt repository, right?
Yeah, depending on the organization, if it's like a small one, like it might be less. If it's like a large organization, it can scale to 1,000 or plus models as well. So it totally depends on the company.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've seen by experience, particularly when people are getting started with DBT, but in general, I think is that even just understanding what those selectors are, right? Over time, as you say, you might don't want to run the full pipeline. So you start going to build these more complex graph operators and selectors within DBT command. So even just trying to understand what is expected to run in the first place, what are we trying to run within this bold job, and how we can get to their resolution. I think, yeah, moving forward, one of the things I want to show now is how do we go from a bold failure to actually fix things. I'm going to go and copy this error message in here, and I'm going to jump on the editor side. So this is the developer experience. So this is where the job actually happens, right? Where we get work done. I guess for people then they're coming from VS Code, they'll see a lot of similarity. You never feel like you kind of have to learn a new interface. But we've been adding more and more functionality to make that process of working with Git in particular as easy as it can be, particularly if you're not super familiar with Git. So I can use now this feature to go ahead and create my branch, which is fix dbt pipeline F1. And that's where we're trying to simplify as much as possible the experience. We don't really have to think about what branch I'm checking out. Am I in the right place? Am I not in the right place? We just take care of that. And here's where we have DinoAI, which is our agent. So as I said earlier, we have part of the capabilities we build is around bold, but also there's a lot that we've been working to make sure that also the developer experience work as seamless as it can be. I can try and do something now. Let's say I'm going to drop here the exact error message we got, and I'll press enter. Let's see how far we get on this one. But the idea being is, okay, how can we go from a bold error to an AI summary to actually get the agent within Paradigm, do some of the work for us to try and help us and fix what happened here. And DinoAI is going to go and start reading through a bunch of things for us, define what the potential issue was. We actually go and open the file diff at this point, and it's going to try and fix our problem, right? So it kind of went here and try and resolve one of the aliasing. I can click on accept to make sure that I'm happy with the changes. I can go ahead and test them now. And it's also providing to me the actual command, right? How can I go ahead and test this again? So I can click on copy, let's say, I can go here, and let's say I'm going to paste this in. Let's try and run it. I think this is how I see the humor in the loop, right? Like, how can you work with AI to test things to make sure that we try and solve some problems? So actually, it's like, actually, hey, there is actually another error, and that's why we fix it. So let's try and solve this other one now. So I'm just going to copy your message, and I'm going to change and send this here again, and see how far we can get without having to write and touch code too much here. So there is a mismatch. Again, the agent was able to find the mismatch for me, find what the issue was there. I can click on accept again and go through the process of like, how can we fix as many as much as possible. We can go ahead and click and accept again. So kind of go through these workflows of using both the agent to help us solve the error, and more importantly, kind of walk us through what these issues are and how they can be resolved. So I'm going to kind of try and maybe rerun this again on the front and see how this can be fixed. And yeah, now we actually went from failed pipeline with an error message to a summary that is human readable, to then work with the agent alongside to kind of fix those problems. And it sounds like a very small thing, but one of the features we built very early on with AI was actually generating commit messages, right? Like, people tend to not spend enough time on writing commit messages, and that's what we built. This is one that still today we can build all crazy things around super smart agent and open files, tell us what is going to look like tomorrow, but still generating a commit message is still what feels magic for a lot of users when I do demo Paradigm.
Is the topmost used feature of AI, right? Commit message.
It is. And now, of course, I can click on commit and push. And again, here's where, the interface will take care of updating my branch, rebasing, pushing, committing, doing all these things for us. Something that I think is the next step, right? Like, we solved the commit message problem. Now the next thing is, I think, pull request description. Like, how do we make sure that people are actually writing the right pull request description? So I'm just going to expand this a little bit, but that's something pretty recent in Paradigm. So we added this prompt library in here, which is basically a file. If we take a step back on how DinoAI works, fundamentally, there are two types of files. There are Dino rules. So this is defining what kind of behavior we want on top of what we built for the agent. And then we have prompts, which are effectively a reusable prompt snippet. Then teams can use, they can share, you can commit it, and we provide a set of built-in variables for this. So the one I'm going to use now is actually generating the pull request description. So I can click on the prompt now, click on generate pull request description. And basically here what we do, again, we pass additional context to the agent. And what it's going to do is actually going to go and look, okay, what is in my current branch? What is my default branch? And go and generate the second part of this, which is a pull request description. Then as a user, I can just pick and lift and shift and just add it to my PRs as I go along. Now, I think what is pretty exciting is like everyone has different PR description, right? Every team has different workflows. Now, because this is part of a prompt library that users can manage, it means that you can actually go and change whatever you want to have here, right? This is the current PR description that was generated for me. I can effectively just go and copy and paste this whole text, go in my GitHub or GitLab, and then just add this description there. I've seen some pretty interesting workflow that some companies are building with Paradime on this, because the diff is basically returning us a set of changes and models, right? I've seen teams doing data diffs on the back of this. It's like, go and find all the models that have been modified and then runs data diff using Python or the tools, or validate certain business logic, make sure that certain DBT commands have run before I open the pull request. So because we give all the capability to the end user, you have a lot of flexibility on what can be built with this, which is pretty exciting. I already see that some use the next thing they ask, like, why do I have to copy and paste it? Can I just add it? Yeah. But yeah, I think from our side, it's all about how can we tighten these workflows? How can we make it easier for user? How can we use AI in all small micro interaction that teams are doing today to make their life easier?
And from your perspective, what are some of the frontier areas that you are sort of thinking about? It's like a wish list almost. It's like, okay, these are the other areas where if I was able to use AI, it would actually help me and my job and deliver even faster. What are some of the areas that you're thinking about?
Yeah, I think on the data side, most of the time the data teams are like a separate within engineering org where they get like a lot of ad hoc requests or some mini projects. Hey, I want this dashboard built, or I need to have some deep analysis of this data. Like, make sense of the data which I have. So I see like an opportunity where AI can be smart enough to basically take Slack message, linear tickets, Jira tickets as a request and start working on it. It's already connected to your code base. It's connected to your data transformation platform. It also is connected to your warehouse as well. So with that knowledge, I feel like there's a way good chance of AI start doing some initial lifting to start with, where an analyst or an engineer or like a data scientist can just come in like, hey, I have the stuff ready. So I think that's where I see the AI in the developer workflow come in to basically help propel this forward. But all of this can be possible without any strong foundation in the data itself, strong foundation in data pipelines, and strong foundation on the data tooling which we have to make it possible.
No, that's very valid point because you need that foundation to be able to accelerate because otherwise the wheels will fall off somewhere between along the way, you know. Um, and what would you say to someone who hasn't yet explored AI from a analytics engineering or from a data modeling standpoint?
Gotcha. So if folks are not started using AI, especially on the data workflow, I think the way I see it, AI has been catered towards a full stack development side of things, and data comes later. So my advice is to get started, like whatever component. It doesn't have to be perfect. We can iterate on top of it, but you have to get started. Otherwise, we will be missing the bus of this AI wave. I feel like, especially on the data workflows, you have to make sure like the tool does work for you rather than you working for the tools. Investing in the foundation and all the components which I said, like your data warehousing, data pipeline, data modeling, as well as your dashboard side of things. You have to invest in foundations so that like eventually as AI technology becomes better, they can see the AI can seamlessly integrate with the tools to help you propel faster.
No, I think that's valid because a lot of times we hear is like, should I be using AI and getting started with small problems and getting your hands dirty and iterating over it, I think means that you'll start to appreciate the benefits of it way faster compared to trying to solve a big problem with AI in one shot. I think a lot of times people try to solve a really big problem with AI, and it's almost like, a lot of people want to get rich quick by investing in the stock market. Never happens. It hardly ever happens. So I think a lot of times people in the AI world expect magic, but I think if you start iterating, you get to a very good outcome over time.
I think another one adding to this is also use the AI functionality when it's actually needed. I've seen multiple times, it's like, oh, I need to rename a column. Okay. And just like order ID from order identifier, and then expecting the agent will scan through 600 files, find all the different order ID column. There is find and replace for that. Just use some of this native built-in functionality that a lot of editors have to solve some of those things, which are a lot easier. Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this has been a great conversation, Varad. Thanks so much for making time for us. And yeah, we continue to build. There are more stuff coming in and around Bolt as well as DinoAI. Our workflows are changing as well within Paradigms, which means we are already fast, but I think we are becoming way faster than than before. Even our workflows are changing. So yeah, great to be partnering with you. And yeah, speak soon. And thanks again for joining us.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's like always fun to talk about data and AI. Bye.
Bye bye.